Hey, this is Travis. I'm here with Pat Jenkins, Big Pen Show. We're getting on up in a number of shows now, so we're getting a little more used to what we're doing. At least I am. Pat's done this before. We're at Boar's Nest for lunch. We'll be here tonight for the Razorback game. Those people who want to come out and say hi and be on. We got some quick things to talk about. And then we'll be done with today. So we're going to have kind of a quick show today and hopefully have a good time tonight. Again, we're at Boar's Nest Barbecue. And Pat, Devontae Neal, he is waiting to sign until Tuesday. Yes. He's got a visit to Arizona. There's a lot of people, a lot of yahoos on the message boards already saying it's another DGB. He's going to visit his home state school the weekend before, and it's just a matter of time. He's picking that school. It's a done deal.
I think, when you hear comparisons to sort of the Dorial Green Beckham scenario, I think that's unfair for Devontae and his father. They've been very, very thorough in this process. Just recently, he has canceled his visit to Arizona. We'll be just deciding amongst those four: Arizona, Arkansas, North Carolina, and Notre Dame. He will be making his decision that's coming Tuesday. Just a few days away. No one knows where this kid is going to go. I know he and his father are going to sit down over the weekend and weigh all the pros and cons of each school. Whoever gets this kid, they're going to get a bona fide athlete. He's been selected as Mr. Football in the state of Arizona for his junior and this past senior year. He's going to get a great football player as well as individual. But as far as everyone trying to speculate as to if he's going to Notre Dame, which some think Arizona. I think that's unfair. We'll all know on Tuesday of where this guy is going to attend. And I'm pretty sure that university and that coaching staff is going to be extremely happy with wherever he decides.
Let's talk about a little bit the difference between some of the four schools he's got. You got a Notre Dame. Hadn't really been, significant in the national title hunt picture in a decade or longer. They got a coach whose head about popped off his shoulders of a player, and they caught that on the news, and they had one little blurb about it, and that was it. But his tirade made some of the well-known coaches in the SECs that had caught a lot of flack for one simple line. Kind of made his, his head looked like an exploding tomato. You got academics at Notre Dame. You get a degree from the University of Notre Dame, and you can pretty much write your ticket anywhere. Except the problem with that is that most of them don't graduate. Most of them that go to Notre Dame, most athletes that go to Notre Dame are leaving early. They're going to the show, but they're not going anywhere. Arizona, who would they be? I mean, they even competed in the Pac-12.
You talk about Arizona. I know that his father used to coach JUCO football, and there's a coach just recently hired by Rich Rodriguez on his staff that his dad and the assistant were on the same junior college staff, so there's some familiarity with that program and that coach.
Arizona pulls some snaky stuff like Alabama did.
Well,
let's go ahead and hire. That looked like something I've seen on the movies. Let's go ahead and hire this kid's dad.
You talk about Notre Dame, and there's tradition. It speaks for itself. They have their own TV channel. I talk about North Carolina. Coach Fedora, recently hired from Southern Miss. I think this guy's going to do a great job with resurrecting that program and kind of getting some of the stigma of just the past couple of years what that program went through.
Basketball school.
And then you talk about Arkansas, who Coach Kanaka has put in a lot of time with this young man. He's recruited the state of Arizona real heavily, kind of getting Arkansas inroads into that state. And I think Devontae's real familiar with Kevin Fisher, who he beat out last year for Mr. Football in the 2011 football season. It's just the kid has a lot of options. And when you're a talent such as Devontae, I admire kids that don't rush into it, and the father, and they cross all their I's, dot all their I's and cross all their T's, and just be real thorough with the process. So when that kid makes his final decision, it's final.
Coach Petrino likes to bring in recruits and redshirt them and build a foundation for each class. They come in, they get in the weight program, they get in the speed programs, agilities, and they learn the playbooks, and they pay their dues the first couple of years. And then when they're ready to play in the SEC, when they're bigger and they're stronger and they're faster, then they come in and play. Well, is this the type of kid that can come in and play immediately?
Excuse me. Yeah, I really believe he can, because I think Arkansas is going to be in need of a playmaker at wide receiver as well as special teams. A lot of people like to compare him to Joe Adams, who just completed his eligibility at the university. He should be one of the few offensive players that the wide receivers that they're bringing in, the Arthur Cowan, Keon Hatcher, Eric Hawkins. Those are guys that you have an immediate need, at the wide receiver position. Running back, not a huge need there with DJ and Ronnie and now coming back in that aspect. You got three guys that's been in the system and through the wars for 3 years. But I do think if Devontae was to come to Arkansas, you would see immediate playing time, and he could possibly. I would be shocked if he wasn't the guy on that first kickoff, that first punt return, back there, prepared to make a big play for them.
Now, if Neil signs with another school, we'll still have an open scholarship left. Who else do you see that scholarship going to?
Well, I've heard, just through sources, that it's Brad Culp, a wide receiver there at the University of at Fayetteville High School, would be a guy that they would look at. But who knows with that situation? The numbers play themselves out, and maybe Coach Petrino and his staff are comfortable with the 24 that they sign, and they may carry it over to next year's recruit class. That's just kind of a wait-and-see approach. But we won't know anything on which direction they're going to go until Tuesday when Mr. Neal decides what he's going to do.
McCall comes from a long line of really, really good athletes out of Fayetteville. Outstanding track athletes, outstanding football players. So, he might be a good addition to come in red shirt and build, get stronger, get faster. Hey, we've got basketball tonight. No way. A lot of people saying we need to schedule Decatur Decatur High School team.
I don't know if it's to that degree, because tonight I feel like Arkansas is due a breakthrough game on the road. Last year when all the chips were down, they go to Vanderbilt, and Michael Sanchez has the game of his career with 20 points, and they finally break through. I know a lot of people, still have that bad taste in their mouths from the performance that that the basketball team had last Wednesday night in Athens, Georgia, against the Bulldogs. But you see improvement, and there's something that tells me tonight when they go to Knoxville that this team is going to play an excellent basketball game, and this could be the night that they get that first road win. I mean, Travis, if you look at Tennessee, they've lost a few at home. They're kind of a young team that's been a Jekyll and Hyde. I think back to just this past weekend, they went to Florida and got their first road win of the season. So, Arkansas is doing this, and this could be the day and evening that they get that elusive road win.
Well, Brandon Mitchell came in and played the last game and had some points and contributed, and he's starting to come along pretty good himself, along with his backup quarterback for Arkansas's football team, and was originally recruited and was going to play basketball at LSU, and then ended up here as a quarterback at Arkansas. Petrino has allowed him to play both basketball and football, and he came in and he did a pretty good job last game.
Well, I think with Brandon and his football background, I think that's something that this basketball team has needed, a vocal guy to kind of communicate on the basketball court with a lot of the players. And you look at Brandon, and I know the guys on the team look at him as, hey, this is a guy that's been through the trenches, a big, strong, tough guy, about 6'4", 225, 230 pounds, but really athletic and is an excellent basketball player in his time. Comes from a great family of athletes, and as you stated, was going to go and play for Coach Brady there at LSU before he was relieved of his responsibilities at the University of LSU. I just think this is a great fit for Arkansas at this time with them needing such a vocal. They need toughness. And you put Brandon down at the post. I mean, he's going to battle. He may be 6'4", but I kind of like him, Charles Barkley. He has all the girth to be able to, battle some of the bigger, more imposing front lines in the SEC. And it just seems like the right time to have him on the court right now.
Now we talk about basketball, we got to talk about the girls. The girls are hot. They played horrible at Auburn. They couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat and still managed to pull out a win. They've got a Arkansas record for most consecutive SEC wins. They're pretty much a lock for the NCAAs. They got a good team coming in tomorrow night. They got to play. Can we expect to see more aggressive, style of play from them? Callie Burnham was freshman of the week. The honors are starting to roll in. It looks like they're going to be ranked in the top 25.
I feel like, with this team, last year this team would have lost a lot of those close games, such as the way that they played in Auburn. I mean, you shoot the way they shot. Poor Sarah Watkins had one of the most difficult games of her entire career in the 3 years she's been here, going 6 out
of clutch, though.
21. Yeah, you get down to the last minute or so, and she goes very hard and aggressively to the rim, and without second thought, she shoots that shot, and that's kind of the experience factor. Sierra Ricketts coming off the game she had last Thursday night against South Carolina at home. To only have 3 points, but just the leadership, the things that she was able to do and distributing the basketball, as well as, becoming the all-time leading steals leader at the university in that game. You had Lindsey Harris, who didn't have a great game against South Carolina, but came back and shot the ball really well against Auburn. Ashley Daniels does what Ashley always does, is just scrap, and fight for every ounce that she gets. This basketball team is finding ways throughout when they're not on the top of their game to win. I think tomorrow night at Bud Walton, if you're not doing anything, get out and support these girls. It's an all pink game, so if you like pink, and as most women do, Travis,
support breast cancer. Breast cancer awareness.
It's going to be something that will be well worth the price of admission. They went to Baton Rouge and beat this same LSU team by 20. But they did the same thing with Auburn, and to come out, you have to stay focused, because so many times in sports, young athletes, they're human. They sometimes remember what they did the last time, and maybe may not come in with the right focus. This senior class is down to its last 2 games ever in Bud Walton Arena, and I know they would greatly appreciate the fans come out and support, them in their final 2 outings, because it's a real emotional time for those young ladies. But I feel like this team is primed and ready to do something really well for the first time in their 4 years on campus in the SEC tournament, as well as, like you said, a lot for the SEC tournament. Just playing really good basketball. We have the emergence of Callie Burnham, the true freshman, who was Miss Basketball in the state of Arkansas, and part of 2 out of 3 years she was there, state championship, and one runner-up. She's a winner. Dominique Robinson, Kiera Peak. Those are girls that, as we've stated so many times on our shows, Travis, they're getting something from their bench, and that's always key when you're playing the type of basketball that these young ladies are playing right now.
An interesting side note, Peak did not get hurt this last game. So she's had time to heal up a little bit and, get in the training room and get the ice packs on, and the trainers help her out. So she might actually be full speed for LSU. I think it's the first game in about 12 games she hadn't hit the floor hard and rolled around a little bit and got dinged up. So it'll be interesting to see how she comes out almost fully healthy.
The thing that we've talked about off the air before we came onto the show today, Travis and I were discussing, what's it going to take for the men to get into the NCAA tournament. My general thought is probably still at least 2 of the road games. You protect home court, and you beat a Florida, you beat a Mississippi, you beat Alabama, and then you win maybe 1 or 2 games in the SEC tournament. I really do believe that 23 to 24 wins will get this team in to the NCAA tournament for the first time in probably 4 or 5 years. which says a lot for the coaching job that Coach Anderson and staff have been working toward this year. I just feel like tonight is going to be a really special night and kind of get them in that direction because, I mean, as we all know, this is a bubble team, but they've beaten some really good teams. And if you can just get a couple road wins, that should really impress the committee come Selection Sunday.
Gymnastics, let's talk about a little bit with them. Gymnastics had lost the last couple meets. They slipped down to number 5, but still have Grable and Bassani are still ranked number 1 in the nation in their respective parts of the meet. They've got another tough matchup this week. Softball, girls softball. Part of Arkansas's softball problem in the last few years has been the lack of power hitters.
Absolutely.
After they won the Baylor tournament, and the girls jacked about 4 home runs from freshmen, I don't see them having a lack of power this year. They're 4-1. They've got another tournament this weekend. These girls are pretty good. You know, they're like that old Major League movie. You know, they're not bad. Hardly anybody knows any of them's names, but they're players. They're going to be all right.
Well, like you said, I go back to what you just said. Young softball team. This coaching staff has come in and they've done a really good job of selling the program. You know, as you can attest, they're getting those summer ball girls that play out in the West Coast. Out from California and parts of those areas. You got a young but really lively arm group of pitchers. Amanda Summerford from Fayetteville High School was a great young arm coming out of high school and heading to U of A. And they just got some hungry youth, and sometimes they're naive. They don't understand, they're not familiar with Arkansas not being in the upper echelon in the conference. They're here to make a name for themselves. And as you say, when they went to Waco on 4-1, that was pretty impressive.
Pat, we've got
Oh, that's your team. It's just the same color. Never mind.
I told you my beer looked like your team.
I remember now.
We were a little worried that drinking my Shiner Bock on air might offend people, but it's who I am. I drink beer, I chew tobacco, Pat drinks tea. So it looks just like a sweet tea. We know that. We got to talk about baseball. I've got my ugly baseball cap on. This hat is ugly as sin. It looks terrible on me, but it's my baseball hat. And being ranked anywhere from number 3 to number 8, we have to talk about baseball.
Absolutely.
Season opens this weekend against Villanova. 3-game set, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've got a lot of great players. Baxendale, we've got our Sanborn. Our pitching depth is off the charts. We've got Ficacello, a lot of preseason All-American, Baseball All-American awards. It's going to be interesting to see how this season unfolds because you never know about injuries and things like that. But Arkansas has a legitimate chance to possibly add another national championship to the close to 50 that we already had.
Absolutely.
They're going to be fun. The games are exciting. We're going to be in the outfield. One of us will be in the press box at times, but for the majority of the time, we're going to be out in the outfield, camped out and doing shows from the outfield and interacting with the fans. And which is fine with me. I'd rather be down there.
It's always fine.
Hanging with the fans.
It's always fine with me. I mean, as Travis said, we'll be out in the outfield, just fellowshipping, having a great, grand old time with some of the best fans, probably the best fans in all of college baseball in the country. We want you guys to come out, enjoy the Big Pen Show, as Travis and I do every week.
Get yourself on YouTube.
There'll be interviews throughout the game. Like we always say, if you have any questions, Facebook us. You can shoot us questions on Twitter. I'm at suination.com, and we'll gladly try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. And like I always say, what we don't know, we'll definitely find out for you. But just looking forward to baseball season. I know when you're anywhere from 3rd to 8th in the country, that's national prominence, and I can't help but think of how raucous the crowd will be on Friday night for the opener. It's supposed to be great weather from what I'm hearing, 56 to 60 degrees.
55, 60 degrees.
Great baseball weather for February. I mean, here we are in February, and it's a pretty good time, weather-wise. So, just really looking forward and excited about what SuiNation.com, the direction that we're headed with the fans. I mean, we are a very interactive website to where the way you feel, we want to be able to show that to all Razorback fans throughout the nation. So just come out and enjoy.
Speaking of that, I got to mention there's a new forum that hogblog.org has come up with. A lot of not all, I'm not going to say all of them. There's still some old school Razorback news sports websites that they're set in their ways and they're not going to change, and that's fine. But there's some new young guns like us that see the potential in forums, and Jeremy Matthews, one of the administrators for hogblog.org, has come up with a forum for not only the younger, newer websites to come in and post, but for all fans. And they've got about 90,000 people on their Facebook page. If you get time, go to hogblog.org and look for the discussion forum, and sign up. It's kind of an exciting thing.
Also on the recruiting, we will be running updates as we contact the players and their high school coaches as well as their families on both men's and women's side. Here in the next couple of weeks, we'll be running some basketball stories on recruits that Coach Collin and Coach Anderson and those guys are looking at as possible replacements and future, difference makers with that program. There'll always be a list of the football prospects. It's kind of a dead time right now. So you just kind of touch base with the high school coaches. Also I can say as of last night that Kenny Lacey of Phoenix, Arizona, big 6'5", 265-pound offensive lineman, goes to Mountain Point High School. Some say he's the top offensive lineman in the state of Arizona for the 2013 class. We just offered a football scholarship by Coach Bobby Petrino and that staff. His lead recruiter is Coach Glenakis. Just updates whenever we have them, we'll definitely pass them along. We want this to be a site that everyone will want to subscribe to. Travis puts out great articles. I mean, this guy can write with the best of them out there. We have Shane King, who will be also periodically putting articles up on our women's softball.
Writes for the Northwest Arkansas National.
Northwest Arkansas.
He's going to be doing softball,
we're have
helping with baseball.
Awesome pictures. The photography that we'll be
Ryan Cunningham photography
bringing with us is going to be top notch. So just log on, subscribe on, and prepare for great work that we're going to put in. I mean, we're going to work daylight to dawn and try to be one of the most premier sites for all of Razorback athletics. That's SooieNation.com, SOOIEE.com.
SOOIEE Nation.com.
Nation.com. Yeah. Nation.com.
Who do you think's drinking the beer now? Hey, one thing I did want to say about recruiting, and I know that I get caught up in wanting to be the first to report, but Pat, he's our recruiting expert, and one thing that he does is he spends hours on the phone talking to the recruits, talking to the parents, talking to coaches, talking to people. He wants maybe not the first news, but the most accurate news. So, we could do like a lot of other sites and throw out numbers and throw out this and throw out school choices and all that. That's great. But we'd rather take our time a little bit and get the most accurate news information for them. So, bear with us with the recruiting. It may not be first, but it is the best.
And as always, Travis, recruiting is a marathon. It's never a sprint. So we're, like Travis said, I mean, we want to be accurate. we want to tell you what the kids are thinking about with Arkansas, and we're going to be thorough. There's never going to be anything that it's going to be reported on our website or on our webcast, our podcast, that the kids hadn't confirmed, nor their parents or coaches. I mean, everything's going to be top notch because first and foremost, our loyalty will be to the coaches, kids, and the parents of these prospective recruits.
We're going to close this show out. Again, we want to thank Boar's Nest Barbecue for allowing us to host the site here. Come visit us tonight. We'll be here doing the YouTube shows for the away game.
I don't have to bother you.
I want to thank Jenkins USA Computers, C&E Locksmith. But we've gotten a couple new sponsors this week, and my mind just went blank.
That doesn't happen very often. His mind goes blank.
I'm usually not at a loss for words, but we're going to cut this show off now, and then hopefully see you tonight again here at Boar's Nest.
And we'll see you Friday.
See you Friday to recap the week sports and to lead into this weekend's baseball and other sports. Sign off. Say bye. Bye.
Peace.
Say bye.